Welcome back to another week. This is Miss Graham, and we got Miss Spencer on the line. Um, so this week we'll be going into talking about your student learning project. So we will be talking about different bodies of waters and Maryland's watershed. You will be learning about your environment. Miss Spencer?
I'm here.
Oh no, did you want to say anything? Oh, do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts.
Okay, do's and don'ts. Same thing as last week and the week before that. Please just be respectful when you're making comments. Please don't say anything you're not supposed to say. Keep it positive and about the work.
Good. Like I said, we'll be going over all new information this week. So take your time through this video. If you need to pause it, I recommend that you get pencil and paper now than later. Alrighty. So let's get cracking.
Okay. Lesson and objectives. Students will describe the concept of a watershed as well as identify Maryland's watersheds.
Okay. We're going to identify watersheds and describe the concept of a watershed. So, warm up. This is warm up number 5. We're on week number 5. How many body of water, that's supposed to say bodies of water, it's supposed to be that way around, can you name? Do not look up the answer, meaning don't Google it. What bodies of water are near where you live, or which ones do you know about? How many can you name? Like how many different types of bodies of waters? We know there's different types of bodies of waters. How many can you name? And number 2 is name a body of water that you know exists in Maryland. Not in the world, but specifically in Maryland. What body of water do you know of that exists in Maryland? Okay? This could be somewhere near your home. It doesn't have to be near your home, but it has to exist in Maryland, okay? Alrighty. Let's move forward. So we have what is known as driving questions. Our driving questions is just normally our focus questions. We do not want you to answer these questions right now. We just want to read them to you so that you have them in the back of your mind so you can think about them as you're going through your lesson for today or for this week. So the driving questions read, why are watersheds important to the health of the Chesapeake Bay? And number 2 is, do humans impact the local watershed? Remember, do not answer this right now. You will be able to answer this by the end of the lesson. Okay? Keep this in mind. Or you will have an idea on how to answer this at the end of the lesson. Cool? Cool. So, this is a picture of the Chesapeake Chesapeake watershed. Now, what I want you to do is take notes on this, okay? All this dark blue, like this dark blue lines that look like veins, those are different bodies of waters that connect together, whether they be streams, creeks, or lakes or rivers or things like that, that all empty out at some point into the Chesapeake Bay, which is here. This is the Chesapeake Bay right here, okay? So this is the Chesapeake Bay. You see how all these connect? Somehow they all end up emptying into the Chesapeake Bay, okay? The Chesapeake Bay watershed covers 6 different states, okay? Well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write down what 6 states it covers. So this way you always remember. It spreads from New York, Pennsylvania, which is here. So this is New York at the top. Then you have Pennsylvania. Then you have, this is Maryland. Okay. Maryland. Delaware. Okay. Right here in the little corner. Virginia here. And then you have a little tiny bit over in West Virginia. Okay. West Virginia. So, Virginia, 1. West Virginia, 2. Pennsylvania, 3. Maryland, 4. Delaware, 5. New York, 6. 6 states this one watershed is connected to. Okay? Always remember that. Now let's move forward. Oh, and this fun fact. The Chesapeake Bay or the Chesapeake Watershed is one of the largest watersheds in the United States. It is ranked number 3. Fun fact. All right, so we have a little probing reflection question. So in this activity here, you must select the person that you agree with the most, okay? We want you to think about what you already know. It says select a person who you agree with the most and explain why you believe they are correct. Ms. Spencer, can you read the students, please?
Yes. So, you want to read the whole thing or just the student's name?
Just read the whole thing.
All right. So, 4 students are talking about watersheds. Kim, I think it is a tower that stores water in cities. Dominique, it is an area of land that all the water goes to the same place. Stanley, I believe it is an underground area that holds water. Olivia, it is an undeveloped area in the mountains with creeks and streams.
Now, which student do you mostly agree with? We gave you a sentence starter at the bottom. I agree with, and you're going to select one of these names that's in the middle, okay? You're going to select the person who you most agree with, and then you're going to explain why you agree with them, okay? Or why they are correct. You're going to explain why they are correct, okay? Moving forward. Boom, boom. It's break time. This is your chance. Go stretch, get something to eat. You thirsty, go grab a drink. If you're not in need of a break, then you can continue forward. But this is your time to take a break. You want to say something, Miss Spencer?
No.
All right. Moving forward. So, we have a video for you guys to watch. And we're going to play this video. And we want you to take notes on the video. And we'll go over what the video initially is talking about after the video is over. But this is going to explain what a watershed is.
What is a watershed? Is it a shed that holds water? Nah, try again. A watershed is all of the land that drains into the same location or body of water. People tend to think only of water bodies such as rivers, lakes, and wetlands as being part of their watershed. However, any land, whether it is park, farm, forest, school parking lot, and even the soil we build our homes on is also included. Think of a watershed as a funnel, collecting all the water within a specific area and draining into the nearest body of water. Drop by drop, water is channeled into soil, groundwater, creeks and streams, making its way to larger rivers and eventually the ocean. Everyone in the world lives in a watershed. Watersheds know no political borders, whether local, national, or international. Our environment, our economy, and our society all depend on a healthy watershed.
All right. Now, let's discuss what it's talking about. So, Ms. Spencer, let's go ahead.
Okay, so let's look at the facts from the video you all just watched. So, a watershed is all of the land that drains into the same location or body of water.
Oh, make sure you guys are taking notes. My fault. My fault.
The watershed is all of the land that drains into the same location or body of water. Any land, including parks, farms, and school parking lots, are included in a watershed. So any land on Earth is included in a watershed. All the water from a specific area is collected and drained into the nearest body of water, which eventually will end up in the ocean. So all the water is collected and drained, and at the end of the whole process, it has drained into the ocean, and everyone lives in a watershed.
So where you currently live, you are on a watershed. So we have another video for you. This is a NASA video. It shows from a satellite image. So this is from space. This image is from space. What it looks like from space. I want you to listen, take notes on things that are interesting. And once again, we'll go over what this video is talking about right afterwards. Okay? Let's rock and roll.
I think people probably don't realize that it's like...
Oops. Sorry. My apologies.
I think people probably don't realize that it's like surprisingly large. Almost up to the Finger Lakes, like in New York, much of Pennsylvania, the streams and rivers flowing by their houses are going into the Chesapeake Bay. So a lot of people who aren't thinking about Chesapeake Bay are really in the midst of it. Really going back to like the 1950s, 1960s, as the farms were getting built up around the bay and as cities were getting built up around the bay, there was so much more nitrogen, phosphorus, sediment that you started to see certain species of fish, their populations going down. You're seeing seagrasses die off. There is a little bit of good news here. People have been watching the bay since the 80s, and there are little glimmers, signs that things are getting better, possibly. An interesting technique that you can see with a satellite that helps reduce pollution is something called contour plowing. If you're a farmer, you could plow your crops in just straight lines, but if you actually follow the contour of the landscape, they look really neat from space, but they're relevant here because they sort of help reduce erosion. They make it a little harder for sediment to rush off the field in the midst of a storm. By going up in the air, and you can see so much more at once, you can get a much better feel for some of the big picture trends of what's happening. We'll be able to see if these efforts we're making, whether it's putting a green roof on or changing the way farmers are farming, whether these things are actually working.
Nice. Sweet. So, watershed facts based on the NASA video. So the Chesapeake Bay is the third largest estuary the third largest estuary. That's pretty big. It's ranked at the top, guys. And what is an estuary? An estuary is a partially enclosed body of brackish water along the coast. We talked about brackish water earlier in the year. We just touched on it. We didn't really go into it. But the estuary is partially enclosed, which means it's not completely closed off. It may be a small opening that drains into a larger body of water, which is along the coast, which would be our Chesapeake Bay. Brackish water. Brackish water is a mixture of river water and seawater. Well, how could it be a mixture? Because the river water runs into the Chesapeake Bay, and the Chesapeake Bay flows out into the Atlantic Ocean, which is seawater. Okay? Streams flow from way up from New York and Pennsylvania and connects to the Chesapeake Bay. So they gotta come all the way from north, way up north, just to get down to the Chesapeake Bay. That's a long trip if you wanted to like hop in a boat and try to travel it. That's a nice long trip. You couldn't get there in a matter of hours. Well, you could, but yeah, it's a long trip. Too much nitrogen and phosphorus. Nitrogen and phosphorus. Where have we seen those words? On a periodic table, meaning they're chemicals. So too much nitrogen and too much phosphorus was polluting the environment, causing certain populations of fish to drop. Why do you think that is? Think about that word polluting. Polluting. Meaning it was doing what? It was doing harm to the environment. They were building farms and cities, which hurt the environment. Where did they build the farms and cities? On the watershed, because the watershed is a part of the land. Is the land. And last, the Chesapeake Bay is fed by many streams and rivers from 6 different states. When we say fed, that means where the water comes from. Like it literally flows into the Chesapeake Bay. Okay? So what happens in a river in New York can affect the health of our Chesapeake Bay because the river flows into the Chesapeake Bay. A notice and wonder. What do you notice? So what, other than the things that we talked about for both videos, what other things did you notice about the video? Okay? Pick 2 or 3 things. 2 or 3, nothing less than 2. What things did you notice about the 2 videos that we did not discuss? The second thing is, what are some things you wonder? What are you wondering? What questions do you have about both videos? You should have no less than 2 questions. So you should have 2 answers for number 1 and 2 answers for number 2. Okay? But we also want you to read the responses of your classmates because this is going to be a discussion. I want you to leave a replying message to your classmates, which means I want you to, just like Facebook, you know how, or Instagram, you see that picture and you like it and you reply, oh, that's cute. This is what I want you to do. I want you to look at your classmates' responses and I want you to reply to a classmate. It could be a question or comment. It could be you can question what they think, or you can comment that you agree with it and why, or you can comment that you disagree with it and why. Okay? This is a discussion. You must communicate with your classmates. This is not you just answer the questions and, oh, I did my work. No, you must communicate with your classmates. Okay? And if somebody asks you a question, feel free to respond back to them. I want y'all to engage in an actual debate. Okay? Next, moving forward. There we go. Okay. and the explanation of what a watershed is. So, like we said earlier, a watershed is all of the land that drains runoff from precipitation into the body of water, such as a creek, river, lake, or bay. Now, Miss Graham, I don't know what that means. What is runoff? Oh my gosh. Precipitation, that's a big word. What does that mean? I got you. I got you, son. I got you. We know, but this is the definition for what a watershed is. So a watershed is all of the land that drains runoff, okay, into a body of water, such as a creek, river, lake, bay, or ocean, okay? So, your vocabulary. Bing, ding, 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 ding. Runoff. Runoff is the draining of water off a surface, land, or structure. So when the water runs into the drain when it rains, that's runoff. Or you see the water in the streams, they overflow onto the land, that's runoff, okay? Those are different types of runoff. So anything that drains water off of a surface, land, structure, or building, that is considered runoff. It's literally the water running off of something, okay? Precipitation. Precipitation is rain, snow, sleet, or hail that falls from the sky to the ground. If it falls from the sky, which is the clouds, and it hits the ground, it is considered precipitation. And last, the watershed is the land that drains. Now we're going to use our vocabulary. It is the land that drains water off a surface from rain, sleet, or snow or hail into a body of water. You see how I literally use our definitions to plug in the bigger words that we have? So this way we understand what a watershed actually could look like, okay? Now, take a look at this map. This map shows us, this is a different map of the watershed and the Chesapeake Bay. This current watershed that you're looking at, it just shows you an accurate map of how it flows from New York. You see all the streams and lakes. Oh no. Okay. There we go. We see all the streams and lakes that it flows from. Up here we're in New York. Right here we're in Pennsylvania. This is Delaware. That's Maryland. This is where we are. And then you have West Virginia and then Virginia. All 6 of these states are connected together, but they all pour into, you see this long, big, dark blue right here? The ding, 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 the Chesapeake Bay, okay? So this is what it looks like, okay? Now, of course, we know that on the land, we have all kinds of buildings and structures and different types of cities within the states, okay, that contribute to the health of the bay. Now let's look closer. Now, the Patuxent River watershed, right, is predominantly covers the eastern portion of Prince George's County. So if you see this says Prince George's County right here, right? So this is where we go to school at. I can't say this is where Miss Carter is. I can't say what this is Miss Graham is because I don't live in Prince George's County. But you guys live in Prince George's County. So this is where your watershed is. It covers from Howard County, Prince George's County, and Calvert County. This is the Patuxent River, okay? This is near your homes. It is found in all of the corners from Bowie, Upper Marlboro, Brandywine, the eastern portion of Prince George's County, okay? So that would be the Patuxent River, okay? But we also have another river. Let's talk about that. Now we have the Potomac River. If you look at the Potomac River, look, it is large. It is a part of 3 different states, okay? Well, 4 different states. I apologize. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Patuxent River is West Virginia. It flows from West Virginia, Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. That is a big area that the Patuxent River covers, and it flows back into the Chesapeake Bay. Okay? So these are just some watersheds that contribute to our Chesapeake Bay watershed. Okay? Is there anything else I wanted to say about this map? No. So these are just 2 different. So you have you have the Potomac River, which is found in 4 different states because it's very huge. And I'm going to go back. You have the Patuxent River, which is located right there in Prince George's County where you guys look at. And look, we're right here on the map. You see that? That says Suitland. Boom, boom, boom. So that means Patuxent River is right next to where we go to school at. It's very close, okay? All right, let's move forward. So now we're going to wrap up our lesson. We have an exit ticket of 5 questions. These are the first 2 questions. Ms. Spencer, can you read those questions for me?
Okay, so your first question is that you will define a watershed in your own terms. The second question is, how is the land around our school connected to the water in the bay?
So, how is the land around our school connected to the water in the bay? We just talked about that. Hint, hint. Let me give y'all a hint. Hint, hint. Boom, boom. Refer back to this map. That's my hint. That's my hint for the day. That's your cheat sheet for the day. All right. And the following question. So, number 3 is, why are watersheds important to the health of the Chesapeake Bay? Okay? When you think about health, like what keeps something healthy? Okay? What would keep the bay healthy? And why is the watershed important to the health of our bay, of the Chesapeake Bay? Ms. Smith, can you read number 4?
Okay, so how do humans impact the local watershed? So think about the impact you have on the watershed.
When you think about that word impact, right? What do you do that could either help or harm the watershed, the land that you live on that flows back into the bay? So in essence, questions 3 and 4 go together. Okay? 3 and 4 go together. And number 5, why does NASA monitor the Chesapeake Bay watershed from space as well as on land? So why do they look at it from the satellites on space? We talked about that in the video. So if you need to review the video, why do they view it from space and monitor it on land? Because we have biologists who monitor the health of the bay on land by taking samples. NASA monitors by image samples, and the biologists monitors the health of the bay by taking biological samples from the actual bay. So these are your questions. This is your lesson for this week. Before we sign off, we just want to remind y'all, at any time that you guys are struggling, whether it be with terminology, you're struggling with the vocabulary, or you're struggling with how to complete your assignments, email myself, Mrs. Graham, or Mrs. Spencer so that we can help you along the way. That's number one. Number two is I try to check some of the bigger assignments before the due date. So when you guys are submitting them super early, I try to go over them to see if you're on the right track. If I send it back to you and it has comments attached to that, read the comments because the comments are there to let you know that something was done wrong, that you need to go back and fix it. That's my way of giving you a chance to earn full credit for your work before the due date. Okay? And number three, like Miss Spencer said, do not wait to the last minute to ask for help. If it's due at 11:59 Friday night, don't ask for help for all your work 6 p.m. Friday night. Not saying that we're not going to help you, but it's not going to be a guarantee that we can help you with everything at the last minute. Right, Miss Spencer?
Correct.
That is your lesson for this week. Keep in mind, this is not a Miss Spencer thing. This is not a Miss Graham thing. This is Prince George's County thing. This is how you're going to earn your service learning hours through this project we'll be going over the next few weeks. So please take it seriously. And like we said, at any time, reach out when you're in need of help. Anything you want to add, Miss Spencer?
No, this is just please make sure you're completing your work in all assignments. Don't pick one or two.
Yes, all assignments. Because it will count against you in the end. Okay? All right, well, we love you guys. We'll see you later. It's time for you to get to work. All right, signing off, guys.